right, let's go. DMC and DJ Run. Dum diddy dum diddy diddy dum dum. What's up, good people? It's me, your favorite podcaster with my PNC. It's me, your homegirl Ladosha Wright, and I got my PNC right over here. My homegirl Cheryl Morrow, and it's going down on the dopest podcast. That's right, this is the dopest podcast about hair, and we are affectionately titled The Dumbest Ish That People Say About Black Hair. And boy, do we have a very interesting topic that we're going to be talking about this evening. So you guys get your questions ready, because it's all about hair color concerns, right? So they went from the relaxers. Now I'm starting to see things pop up on my timeline about hair color. So we got a deep dive that we're gonna go into. But before we hop down that rabbit hole, before we gotta get a build on it before we hit that rabbit hole, because y'all know. Okay, Kilo Law, what are you coming on? I got what's up, cousin? My cousin that came through. All right, that's the birthday girl. One more time for the birthday girl. It's almost my cousin's birthday. And aren't we excited? Yes, Nene, we're going to be hanging out with you real soon. Now, everybody cannot come to Nene's party, so please do not ask for the location in the chat, because it's just, anywho. So this is how it's going down before we get started. Did you hear about the Equal Rights Amendment? So they're trying to get that, the equal rights for the women. They want to make sure this time. I should have put the clip in the chat, but I should have recorded it, because it's coming back around. It got stuck at 35, and so now it's now at 38, and so they want these equal rights for women, but they're saying women ain't ready for equal rights. No, because they said if women get equal rights, then guess what? We got to be drafted into the army like the men. Or we'll have to pay, alimony like the men. What else did they say? It's a lot of stuff that men have to do that women don't have to do. And they're saying if they amend this in the Constitution, then women aren't considered like spousal dependents. Like, we lose a lot of perks from sitting at home being the property of a man if they pass. So they're saying,
what state is this in?
This is America. The Equal Rights Amendment from the women's suffrage movement. How we got rights to vote, right? So out of the women's suffrage, where we got the rights to vote, then they said we want to take it one step further. We want equal rights, all across the board. We want to be everything that men do. We want the exact same rights. And so they're saying no.
So that's not the perk?
No, they said women ain't ready to fight in the war. They want to draft.
In the military.
I'm sorry?
Women are in the military.
But they don't draft them like they draft men.
They don't draft. There's no draft anymore.
Well, when they make men, when men have to, if something happens, men got to go down. They're saying if it goes down, then men got to do it too, What else did they say? Something about like with marriage, that men, I'm not married, so I don't know, but I guess there's some law where men have to give a woman certain things, and a dependent clause or something.
Where have I been?
Well, I'm just trying to see. Seriously, this is really trending that this equal rights, and I was like, I thought that we had some equal rights. They said, well, some things are implied, but there are some things that will change drastically for women if they actually change the Constitution.
That's the reason. So women actually have an advantage because men have rights.
Yeah, that women are at a disadvantage. That right now, like, we don't get it.
Actually, so women will be losing
some of their sissy points.
Some of their so-called perks.
Right.
If they get Okay, so they're
Equal.
called perks.
Yeah, I'm calling them perks. Because that's that's the way they're posing it. Like women ain't ready to handle what men have to go through.
Like what?
This is the three things that jump out the most. One is the participation in the military. Two, their status. When you're married, I guess you're some type of
Women have advantages.
yeah. This is that we get like we something like a divorce or something like that. And then three, oh shoot, the third one just slipped my mind. Oh, it was something about, it wasn't pay. It was another, it has something to do with your position in America, that men get certain things that women don't get by way of their positioning when it comes to pretty much work and employment is what this, and pay. So, so this is interesting. So
Yeah, I definitely got it.
yeah, I'll do a little bit more research, but I was just like, higher wages, maybe. Yeah, it was wages, but it was another one. I'll have to, maybe it'll come back to me.
Didn't Barack Obama sign the Lilly Ledbetter?
I'm not quite sure.
So that didn't take care of equal
Yeah, they
pay.
said. Yeah, they said. Well, no, because they said women are. We are. I think it's like 8% cheaper, and then black women we're 12%. The gaps get bigger. The darker your skin, then you don't get to make as much as men. Um, so it was just quite interesting, and I said, "Oh my, okay." So I tried to get a crash course before I went live, but it was very content heavy. So, anywho, what's going on, Miss Sandra? Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's so nice to see you guys in the chat. What's up to all? There's some trolls in this house. If you see one, point them out. What's up to all my good trolls? And of course, all of our partners. We're so nice to have you here tonight. We are going to have a wonderful discussion. And this one is about hair coloring. Now, we talked a lot about relaxers, but I don't know. And I don't know how do they... I'm not quite sure. Like, how do they get into my algorithms? Like, I don't know. Is anybody else seeing all of this stuff come through in their chat? Because I'm getting a lot of stuff pop up about about hair coloring. That hair coloring is now dangerous. Now, I did do a little bit more. I looked this up to see now exactly like what are y'all talking about this time? Like, what's going on with this? Is it an attack on the beauty industry, or are we just a bunch of bimbos? I'm not quite sure. So here's what they're saying, all right? Mm-hmm. So for sure they're saying that darker colors are more dangerous.
Okay.
So you have dark hair color that, now of course this is all about cancer. Okay, remember guys, this is part of their concern, and these are researchers concerned about cancer. Okay, what's up, Teddy? I see you in the chats. The Neferu, what's happening? So they're saying that the darker colors, buyer beware. Okay, those cause cancer. The fumes that we smell when we're coloring hair, that is a link there. That's a concern. And then the third one is a known carcinogen, and it's called aromatic amines. And when I looked that up, it says that those are a compound of aniline, and so we know that hair color are phenyline, aniline, derivative tints, that type of stuff. So they're saying that the ingredient that's in the color, that this is a carcinogen. But of course, I have to say, just like the relaxer research, it does say at the end, Cheryl. What do you think it says at the end? What do you guys think it says at the end of this research that hair color causes cancer? The end of the research says, drum roll please. Okay, you ready? They're like, what does it say? Okay, they said it needs to be more research. And so, What I'm going to do with everybody, because I know some of you guys are like, yeah, that's right. And you said some women already pay alimony. You're right. Some women do already pay alimony. So here we go. So what I'm going to do to get this conversation going on, let's talk a little bit about color, okay? So when it comes to hair coloring, and you guys in the chat, I need you guys to help me out. Which color do you think is safer? A semi permanent color that you just squeeze out the tube and it just gets onto your hair? Or do you think a permanent color? Because here's where we're going somewhere with this, Cheryl. Because some people think that permanent color is more dangerous than semi-permanent, aka rinse, because these are the concerns. So people will say, I don't use permanent color because it's bad for your hair. But these semi, as you can see there, all right, the semi-permanents are safer. So Cheryl, let's get the conversation going, and let's talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, because some people are, and then we're going to get over to lightener, because I know some people are going to talk about, what about people who bleach their hair? We're going to get there. So we're going to build on this conversation, but we're going to start off with, because remember, they're saying all of these, by the way, Cheryl. They're saying it doesn't matter if it's a semi, but to the public, and no one dropped in the chat which one they thought was safer. But I will be honest, Cheryl, at my salon, when I get new guests, they think the semi-permanent color is a lot safer. Ebony says both of them is pigment removal. Okay. So some people are concerned about, like, what are they? What's the difference and that kind of stuff. So where you want to start this? Safer, more dangerous? Okay, somebody said the semi is less damaging. Yes, we do hear that a lot, Cheryl, that the semi is a lot safer.
Okay.
All right, let me mute my mic because hold on, wait a minute. All right.
Well, I think I've said before, um, when we hear titles like permanent, semi-permanent, or rinse, or they have another word called demi, and then they have stains, then they have cellophanes, and cellophanes are temporary. They do wash out. I think what I want to clarify is that what would possibly make them dangerous, okay, and those are I do know the FDA does have a warning with a certain particular hue, and that is a black with a red as the base color of that color. But when people say permanent and they say semi-permanent or they say temporary, I want you guys to understand that it's not the pigment that they're talking about. They're talking about the ingredient that makes it permanent or not permanent. And that particular ingredient allows the pigment to travel. So you're not just, the permanent means traveling into the cortex, right? And then semi is laying on top of the cuticle, reflects the light, and then you see it. It's those components, though, it's not the pigment. So when we say semi-permanent color, unfortunately, the pigment gets the bad rap and not the chemical that it is made with that allows it to travel. So if you're traveling on the surface, obviously it's temporary. It's traveling a little further into the cuticle, and then the permanent is permanent because you can't get it out because it has traveled due to the alkaline that traveled and made and took the pigment with it and then stain the inside of the cortex. But when you do say color, most people do think that it's the pigment in and of itself. And I think the pigment is only about 60% maybe of the formula, and the rest is the alkaline chemicals that temporarily are there to make the dye travel deeper. Um, and that's a slippery slope because no one understands when somebody says, well, what is more dangerous? We don't have a metric system that cosmetologists are really taught to understand. It is those ammonias and high alkalins that allow, because the pigment is the food color. Pigment is anything, pigment, but it is the chemicals that make those things either permanent or semi. I think that is the more of the conversation for cosmetologists and professionals. And once again, I think that they're improving, and they're trying to make those chemicals that make those things permanent versus semi-permanent, trying to make them safer. But when we say color, it's not the pigment that's the dangerous part.
Yeah. Wow, that's very interesting because when you look at the research, there is an attack on the actual pigment. That is the language that they're using. They're always talking about the darker, and I have heard people even customers are concerned about dark colors such as your dark browns or your black. People come in, they want black hair all the time, and they will ask, they will say, well, I want a rinse because in their mind, the rinse is safer. Why do people think that because you squeeze it out of the tube, that is safer than when you mix it? Do you know? Can you kind of speak to that? Because it's all color, is what we're trying to tell you guys for certain, okay? And they're all chemicals, even the organic ones. They're not taking, cherries from a tree and squeezing them out and putting them on the hair. So, what is it with this rinse? Because people swear that these are the safest ones. Do you any feedback on that?
Well, it is so amazing how that switches, you know what I mean, when it gets to relaxer. The one you got to stir up, now that one is supposed to be safer than the sodium hydroxide that you don't have to mix. It's, it's just how things are sold to us. But because, and here's the other slippery slope, the ones that you have to mix are usually professional, and those are done in the salon. So we tend to think that maybe, it's a little more intense. You have to have a degree, a master's degree, and all of these things to apply it. But the one that is the squeezy, that's more home-based. So the bar is lowered because of you can use it at home, right? But then if we switch it and say the at-home relaxer, and then they say, no, it's all the same. It's all, it's all the same. It just goes to show you the psychology of a consumer. But I will say that the chemicals are already processed and created in the squeezy, and the other components that you have to mix at the salon are probably just in their natural other components, and you're just mixing them fresh right there. But it's a psychological thing. And let me just say this, and I don't know if hairstylists are under that particular notion. But one thing that we have to understand.
I'm sorry. Yes, they are. But I'll talk about that.
No, but go ahead. Mm-hmm.
No, seriously, there are many, many, many cosmetologists, and I am often amazed at how many people have not come to the conclusion that it's already, it's developed for us. And it's like, well, y'all talk about the relaxer, but y'all don't say that about these rinses. We hope, now understand everybody who's listening. Cheryl and I, we are really making light of it. We're not laughing at you. What we want you guys to do is to really laugh with us. So, and again, we've said it before, we're going to say it again. Is there progress being made on how we use these, how we make these things? Of course there are. But the psychology that they're using to play on your mind for your purchasing power is unbelievable. And then this is why education is important, and this is why we are hosting the 2023 Midwest Afro Hair Science Summit, because we know that even in our very own profession, there are a lot of professionals who believe that this one is actually safer. Now, how you use these on certain, textures of hair, or certain, textures or condition of the hair is up to the professional. But what we don't want you guys to walk away with today is that a permanent color is more dangerous than a semi-permanent color, because they're all the same. It's just how they're packaged to get you and us, the consumer, to actually use it. That's what they don't tell you at the hair salon. So Sandra said, go on, Cheryl, lay the details on them. Get this together. You got to understand that this is the platform where you come to, where we're going to help you guys, how they said, make it make sense. That's all. That's all we're trying to do. Is I see my boss in the chat. Everybody drop that LJ in the chat. What's up, boss? I see you, boss. Because people are getting confused. Now, let's talk about these developers, Cheryl. Because people think that developers is what's making hair color, particularly permanent hair color, very dangerous. They're concerned about these 20, 30, 40s, and 50 developers. So tell us a little bit more, just to help everybody. I see you, Michelle. What's happening, boo? We miss you. We miss you. We miss you. So yeah. So let's talk a little bit more about these developers, because that's the big stink. That these are better because they don't have developers, and it's the developers that's making everything just ratchet when it comes to hair. Now, and I'm not just promoting the safety because of my hair color, but I do like to use myself as an example. So Cheryl, take it away with the old developers is the demon.
Well, back to the analogy of, when you're mixing a calcium based relaxer, right? Part 1 and part 2, right? You have to have an active in order to make the relaxer that's in the bottom of the jar work, because there has to be what they call a catalytic, an activator, and the developer is the activator to actually give you, to make the color, aka the pigmentation or the hue you've chosen, right? Okay. And so I think that the when people say, again, just to go back to the analogy, people don't say the part 2 in the calcium relaxer is the problem. They'll just throw it in and say relaxer, period. And they don't know that until you mix it, nothing's dangerous, or whatever in their concept, nothing's gonna happen. If you were to not mix it and put the cream, nothing would happen. It's like Vaseline. Okay. So pigment is just gonna be a color. It's like ink. It's like when writing a pen. But when you mix the two together, the part 2, and what she's saying, the developer makes the pigment activated so it can travel, or it can process, or it could have a catabolic activation so it can give you the auburn or the dark or the black or whatever the case may be. And let me just say this, we're buying these things so we can get what we want, people. These are not, no one is pulling anyone's leg when they buy it. But I will say that the developer is in the same class as relaxers in terms of that they need to be activated. So if you don't have the developer, the pigment in and of itself is not going to do anything. Okay. So, regardless of what we can say about it, if you desire a lighter hue to your hair, I'm sorry, lemon juice ain't gonna work. You must have a catalytic activation portion of the pigment to be able to travel and to create another bond arrangement or to deposit the tint, the dye. And that is what the developer does. It is on the alkaline side, the ammonia hydroxide. But go ahead.
Okay, yeah.
No, I was done. I mean, we can get the dialogue going.
Yeah, yeah. So here's the thing about the hair color. It kind of gets that same bad rap like, the relaxer. The biggest concern with both the chemicals, aside from irritation, well, the second, because relaxers can irritate as well as hair colors. They can irritate as well. But it's the whole notion that both of the chemicals are very damaging to hair. So like people will see my color and they will compliment like, yeah, her color look good. But if I put that in my hair, all of my hair fell out. So let's talk a little bit more about the responsibility that comes with coloring and using a chemical service, because the name of the podcast is Hair Coloring Concerns. And
Right.
so we hope you guys by now are understanding that the research is still being done. The pigment cannot possibly be the problem when it comes to a carcinogen, for sure. And when you read the research, it really doesn't say that. And I don't even know why they use those.
Well, I think one of the things that they don't understand, Ladosha, is that color is also thermogenic. When you shake the bottle's hot,
Right,
right? So you can get just as much as of a burn or some kind of heat
right.
and feel some kind of irritation. I think that what most people don't understand. Let me just give you guys an example. I had a relaxer client in New York, and she was an older woman, and she was graying, and she was graying fast. So her hair grew very fast as well. But what I decided to do is to now this is an example of what Dosha is saying in terms of marketing messages, okay, and color issues. I decided to use just for men, okay, on a woman. Okay. Now, it was hard to sell her because, of course, the sales message is very hard to get past. She says, "I'm not a man," and I said, "How does the liquid know you're not a man? The liquid ain't got a brain. It don't." That's the dumbest shit. Okay, so the key here is that color marketed to men are stronger because they're assuming that men's hair is thicker. The diameter of the hair is thicker. But they also make it to be able to color in 5 minutes versus a woman's psychology. She's got to sit for 20 to 15 minutes, 30 minutes. Okay, or 45. God damn, 45. You understand? So I gave her color in 5 minutes. And now, of course, this was covering gray. She wasn't having all of the other issues, and it wasn't an intense color job. But what I'm saying is that these chemicals are the same process. They have to be activated in order for them to work. So we can talk about color issues now. That's all I wanted to say.
All right, we got you. But so you guys see the progression of how this color works effectively. Of course, when you follow the manufacturer's instructions. And by the way, not trying to be funny, but like on the back of everything, it just tells you if it's really irritating, you're to discontinue use. So they do have things in place, but per Cheryl's other statement, there are also no skull. I can't get the light on it, but there he is. There are no skull and bones on these products, so you will not die if you color your hair. Your hair may die. You get it? Y'all working with me? So these are safe. There are no skull and bones on this, okay? But back to, as I was leading up to, is the damage. So Michelle's girl has that, people think henna is safer and that coloring is damaging. Color causes hair breakage. Work us out through people's concern concerns rather, that hair coloring is really damaging to the fiber. It makes the hair dry. It makes the hair break off. Now, I don't have any of those problems myself, but remember, the topic today is all about hair color concerns, and our goal is to really just debunk a lot of this stuff. If you don't like hair coloring, you don't like it, but don't be careful with all of the hype. So let's talk about the damage that people really associate with hair color, and what are they really experiencing when they put color on their hair and then their hair is like, uh-oh, what did I do?
Okay. Well, my whole experience is that hair color is not about an adage. It actually is akin to where you are when you start. Okay. That is extremely important. It's almost like what did they say in COVID? Pre-existing conditions. Color is one of those things about where we're starting. Okay. And like me covering gray every 2 weeks, and she wanting it permanent, right? And so that means that I have to protect the consequential hair that I colored last time, right? And so coloring on a natural surface, or a healthy scalp, and even a healthy head of hair, because I don't know, I do know of, shedding issues with someone that already had existing issues. I also know that when you go over processing time, maybe, and you're taking the pigment, and you're using time is very key here. But yet again, you know, one of the things that I probably will probably never say is that I do think that coloring is one of those skills that definitely belongs in the salon. I don't recommend anyone doing it at home, only because it is such a it's a perfected art form. Not to say that relaxing isn't either. You definitely can have really good skills at applying it and staying within the line of demarcation, and being really perfect about it. But shedding, and actually, obviously, there is an alkaline, a point where you have taken the hair past the alkaline breaking point, and you will get some real mushy, stretchy kind of breakage. And at that point, there is some ways to kind of mend that. But I will say also, on the other flip side, I use color to condition as well. And so, you know, because, certain, especially semis or cellophanes, creates a wider protection of the cuticle layer, and it gives you a wider diameter, or at least the illusion of it. Okay. And so the hair appears thicker and things of that nature. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, in addition, I'm just going to piggyback off of what Cheryl is saying now. And I just got to toot my own horn with my Formisi certified master colorist, because
Absolutely.
we want you guys to understand that when you're talking about putting color on your hair, it's not like polishing nails. And I think that's the biggest mistake that people make. They can go into the store and they'll see me on the picture like this, you know. You know what I'm saying, Michelle? I'll be like this. And then they'll be like, ooh, I'm going to buy those two colors and I'm going to put them on my hair, and then it's going to look like Ladosha. It doesn't work that way. The reason why we are suggesting, unlike the relaxer, you have to consider the pre-existing level. When you relax hair, the regrowth is very obvious. So we're not saying, but with color, it don't work like that, because you have to formulate You do not have to formulate when you use a relaxer. You do a silk press, all of those types of, braiding hair. No formulation. Coloring, you have to know how to formulate. And so the biggest mistake
Right.
that
And
you're going
fluctuate.
yeah, the biggest mistake that you're going to have with coloring your hair at home and in a salon, number one, is when you don't have the consultation. That's a dead giveaway. Anybody that sits you in a salon chair and it's like, so what we gonna do today? You gonna run out that door. Run for your lives, okay? You do, because your doctors don't do that. Your attorneys don't. We've talked about this, guys, 1,000 times. Remember, these are professional salon visits. Now, if you're going to a place where that's not their stilo, quite naturally that doesn't apply. And in all honesty, most cosmetologists who don't know how to color, they will simply tell you, I don't color hair, because they don't want that headache on their head. However, you will get some professionals who will push the envelope knowing they don't know what they're doing and they're going to have a problem. So number one, watch out for that key term. What you want me to do today? No, not when it comes to color. Number two, you want a professional consultation that once you show them the color that you want, they have to go into a professional consultation to look at your hair before we get started. So
And also, that's one of the reasons why the levels of developer exist, because of the placement you have. If you are dark, if you want a certain type of color, or you're lighter and you just want to be darker, but you want a different hue, that hue when you stand in the sun, I want it, to be strawberry blonde, But that's one of the reasons why the developers go in numbers, because it is the spectrum of where you're starting and where that cosmetology has to take you. And those numbers in between matter. And that is one of the things that, because if you try to use 10 to do something, well, then you're going to be there an hour, and if you use a different, so it's a calculation. And I think that is it, if nothing else, is based on the experience of a cosmetologist doing this over. And I'm just going to say this, and it's not just it. I would probably say it takes years to really, really get comfortable to perfect it. But I will want to say to the Michonne's question about henna. It's I don't believe that the commercial market, the spiritual market, the Indian market, and the spiritual market, and all of that, I don't think that that was included in the study, because of, again, they're not coming after you. They didn't include, okay, it's scalp. You can't get nothing. If I were to dye my hand 5 times a day, they'll say the tattoos, they ain't went into the tattoo industry, the ink, and the tattoo goes deeper into the skin than henna. Henna doesn't go on with a needle, but they're not coming after the tattoo market. They're coming after the salon. And we have to really be smart about that and ask some more critical questions about that. No, they didn't go into henna and tattoo. They didn't even go into the people who dye garments, because they're getting the same vapors and fumes and things of that nature. But they don't go to industries where they're not trying to dismantle it. And I guess that's what I'm saying.
Good. So, what about hennas? She wants to know, in your professional opinion, is that safe for hair? And then, Marks M, I got you up next. Okay. So, what about henna? Do you think it's cool? What?
I'm going to answer that in my best cosmetology answer. I have never seen a person rocking a henna color and people walking past them getting compliments. So if you just trying to cover a hairline, by all means, go do it. But safer, juxtapose against desire. And then once you get into the arena of your desire, go see an experienced cosmetologist to get what you want in the safest way possible. I don't know if henna is going to be rocking um, like that, in my opinion. So safer is not, see, safer, it just does not belong in the conversation when it comes to color, because at the end of the day, color is a fun thing. Color is a cosmetic experience. Color is a very high art when it comes to cosmetology. And so, color is supposed to be fun. You want to really look vibrant, and hopefully you look younger and your hair looks fuller and healthier and it's banging. And oh my God, I don't know if henna is going to give you that.
Yeah, I would agree. You know, when people come to me about hair coloring, I actually use the same analogy that you use, Cheryl. I would say to them, hair coloring is the plastic surgery of your salon visit. So, you know, if you want that, you know, you want a little Botox, or you want your little, you know, your little twins. Well, I have triplets up here. I'm glad that that thing is up there. So, you know, you really want to go to a doctor and have a really good plastic surgeon, you know, snatching and lifting and tucking and, you know, all the other good stuff. So the same thing with your colorist. Look for those people who have their certifications, definitely that they have a good relationship with their companies that they're representing. All the quality hairstylists, you can call the company. You can actually call for Misi up here in this Midwest region and Pittsburgh and say, is Ladosha one of your master certified colorists? They will vouch. Yes, we get certification numbers just like you get when you graduate from college and all that other good stuff. Okay, so that's one good way. So here's another good one, Cheryl, to your point about the men's color. So we have Marks M saying that she or he uses Madison Reed. And so it has that activator she said that you're discussing. It is odorless and it takes about 10 minutes. So again, we're just showing you guys that the science is very real, and the science, or the chemistry rather, is very safe. So here's a company who's taken out all the guesswork, just like Cheryl said, except this company calls theirs Madison Reed, and Cheryl's company calls theirs men's 10-minute.
Just for men. Just for men.
So let's pick up a little bit more on this Madison Reed concept and the Just for Men, just so people can see the you know, the psyche that's being played on both male and female, because we want you guys to really trust the process. And of course, the Madison Reed color, just like the Just for Men's, they're not to produce these types of results. And so we know people will still compliment you, but I guarantee you, baby, if I walk past you, anywho, go ahead, Cheryl, take it away.
No, covering gray or covering thinning is not the same as there's no spectrum of Just for Men. Okay, it is dark brown, darkest brown, black and dark, dark black. And so those things are made to give fulling, to fullness, to create illusions of thickness, vibrancy and shine, and some vibrancy to the hair. And so, but the reason why I transfer it to women is because, in New York City, I was busy. And also, I know how to, once I do mix it, I can kind of slow the developer down. I know what ingredient to add that's in my, possession at the time, and to do some double and some mixing. And I know how to manipulate it, but and create much more of a more fluid time to really get the hairs to do what I want them to do. But the unfortunate thing that women, that the industry does not say, they are making technology for women to be in the salon, I would probably say, or in sitting in processing times 30 minutes longer than they should. And I don't know why they don't take the technology, the odorless, the 10 minutes.
Yeah, they actually, you know what? They do. They do have the tech. They have Schwarzkopf has a 10-minute color. A lot of companies are have already moved to faster processing time. The slower processing time is really more so around the ingredient that's going to make the color have a softening, like using it as a treatment. And that's
Mhm.
something that you guys need to understand. Like the Farmisi has a coconut oil base, so we know how coconuts are heavy. So they're going to make that processing time a little bit slower because that they're using that color, like Cheryl said, as a treatment, which most people don't even understand that that's really why a lot of people will turn to color, for certain hairstyles. Like if you look at my hair up close, it may look like it's really thick. And that's what Cheryl is saying. It's an optical illusion with the dark hair underneath, right, compared to the blonde. So it's giving it the optical illusion. But as you can see, you know what? If I didn't have that blonde up top, look at how boring that would really look. I'm just going to move that out the way just so you guys can really see that color is just that. It's just an illusion. So if I took that color and I tucked it back, look at how, like, oh yeah, it's ill. It's real flat. It's monochromatic. It looks rich, like you said. There's the shine. We definitely have great coverage. It's 100% great coverage. But here's the thing: I'm not getting that pop. I want my hair to look thicker. I'm aging. It's not going to look thicker. So what are we going to do?
Could create an illusion.
Create an illusion. Do you guys see how this is working? So don't be all the way afraid of it. Just make sure that you are going to that, cosmetologist who actually has that expertise. Now we're going to move on to the big one, and this is the big B, the
Oh, well,
BMOC. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
and ladies and gents, I'm sorry, you no longer natural. So whatever you trying to do with color, you're not. You just you are on. And I'm gonna. This is a funny. I'm sorry. You own the relaxer side. You own the on the cosmetology side, y'all. Okay, you're no longer the crunchy weeds and berries, sustainable green, natural afro pop. None of that. The moment you use semi permanent, you are cosmetically treated. Now, I don't attest, you never lose your natural status. That's just me. But I just wanted to just point that out. There are no bleached, there are no colored natural girls walking around the planet.
Oh, now see, she done got this party started quickly. Cause some naturals is gonna be upset about that, okay? Because we just want you guys to see the divisiveness that now this is not our Lena, Sandra, y'all come on now. Everybody in the chat laughing. But seriously, guys, you guys are hearing this. We don't agree with that. If it grows from your scalp, hey guys, it's natural, okay? If it's still coming from your scalp, like this is my natural hair. The color it's altered. I guarantee you this is all my hair. But if you just must follow the natural hair movement, then I know, Sandra. Let me put that up here, Cheryl. She's like, what you say, Shaniqua? Yeah, wow, kapow. That's right. But anywho, so we're going to move on. And let's move over because we talked, and you already kind of mentioned it. This is the big B, all right? The big B, the big man on campus, the bleach. What do you have to say about powder lightener, aka bleach? Because this right here, this is the white stuff that never gets called the creamy crack, and this is the most addictive. Okay, let me shut up. So let's talk about powder lightener, aka bleach.
Well, I will now I said that I add pigment to condition and treat hair, right? Okay. So if color can enhance a hair fiber, create illusions, make it shinier, make it thicker, make it fuller, and can also adjust pHs, and can kind of make the hair a little less. It'll make it more flexuous, and color softens too as well. Now that means that people walking around with what? Taking pigment out of the hair fiber. Now, in my opinion, educated opinion, um, pigment serves as part of the health of the hair. Now, most colorists will readjust, which means to take out some of the pigment or readjust it only to put more in. But I do know that there is a trend with people walking around with bleached locks or, yeah, that. Uh, that
Yeah.
is complete. Well, and I don't understand. And let me just say, there's a science behind bleach, though. It means that it, and just because the bleach leaves the texture afroish or curly, or it leaves it in an optical illusion, but you have completely um, taken the life sustaining pigment out of it, called the eumelanin. And so but I'm all for, if you deposit color back, the pigment must go back into the hair. But then again, and I'm not talking about deposit on a stain, I'm talking about actually deposit it back in, which is a completely, as you would say, cosmetic surgery.
Yeah. And we see this a lot. I'm
Yeah.
going to give you the most famous person, and she doesn't do this anymore. So what we're talking about is people who take powder lightener and they mix it up with 10, 20, 30, 40 or whatever, and they're trying to get blonde hair. And they just wash it off, and they're this coppery, like orangish, yellowish, which we call it underlying pigment. I'm going to tell you, and I know I'm going to hurt a lot of people's feelings, but I don't mean to. But when I say I don't care, it's to help you out. And I mean this from the bottom of my heart to the depths of my soul, okay? Do not take powder lightener and put it on your hair and remove pigment and my PNC, my partner in cosmetology, you do not tone it.
Let's put it back in.
You have to put another color, because what is happening, and I see, let me give you that person's name. I know y'all like, who's she talking about? I see you, Michonne. I see you, Lena, Sandra, like, which one? Who's she talking about? I'm going to go ahead on and say it. Mary J. Blige. When Mary J. Blige first was getting her hair colored blonde, whoever was doing this stuff, they would just take this powder lightener, and I know it, and they would do what we call reveal her underlying pigment. That is not color. I rebuke you in the name of the color God. I rebuke you. The devil's a liar.
Well, I remember you get a garment and something happens to the garment, and what would you guys go do? Have you guys ever went to go get bleach for your garment and you wanted to change? You would go get RIT. You would go get another color, because we all say, what do we say when we do our laundry or someone else is going to do our laundry? Please separate the whites from the colors. Please don't get that mixed up, because you can't what? And that is, that's a danger zone.
Danger zone. And we see this a lot, and this is not a good thing. People are like, oh, well, I'm just going to keep putting it on there so it's going to get lighter. No, it's not. It's just going to, the oxygen is called oxidation. It's just going to keep, and that hair is going to turn into a puffy something on the ends, and eventually it's going to come off. And then people are complaining that the bleach, quote unquote, damaged their hair. No. Okay, and this is why you need to go to a professional, because there are levels of lift. You cannot take 20 developer lightener on a dark color hair, like the color of Cheryl's hat or Cheryl's shirt. You can't take powder lightener with 20 developer and let it sit for an hour and really think you're going to become platinum. It never gonna happen. Okay, you can let it sit there. I'm gonna do double 20. You can double 20 all you want to. It's not gonna happen, and it's never gonna make any sense because you don't have the education. Right. So this is why we are hosting what, the very first, all right, 2023 Midwest Afro Hair Science Summit, because we know that the language that we're going to be speaking is really going to be to those professionals who have that language when we're talking about underlying pigment, when we're talking about levels of lift, when we're talking about doubling up your developer. These are not words that's going to make sense to people who do natural hair and are anti-chemicals, because you just learned today color is very safe. It can give you the optical illusion to make your hair thicker. It can also be used as a treatment, so, and then you have different types of colors that's going to do different things. And we know you guys are going to walk away definitely understanding that this is the same as this and this. It's just that this one, they already mixed it up for you, okay? So no more a rinse is better than. And when it comes to henna, what you have to understand is deposit only. Those are roots that's coming from the earth. And the henna has a whole different concept of coloring that us Western people, we ain't got nothing on it. So henna has its own cultural practice that's different from what we do here in the Western world. Though they're trying to give it a Western, edge to it. But that's what Westerners do. We always, we take stuff and we just try to, what I'm saying. But you have to respect what henna is all about. And it is not about lightening hair or, it's safer. So watch out for these types of words. So speaking of safer, go ahead, Cheryl. Go ahead.
No,
go ahead. No, yeah. So speaking of safer, because that's something that people are always talking about, is that these chemicals are so bad. So what we're going to do next week is that we're going to talk about, we're going to go there. We're going to go there for all the natural hair people. We're going to be like Jay-Z, order another round because it's about to go down. We cannot take it anymore. We're going to let you guys know. We're going to go ham all next month, and we're going to be going, we got 4 weeks. It's Women's History Month. This is like the perfect conversation about sustainability, about recycling. Because you have all these natural hair people. Have anybody ever wondered, is all that coconut stuff, is this good for the environment? Has anybody ever wondered who gets that money from the shea butter that we want in our hair? Y'all ever ask those questions? Anybody in the chat, have you ever wondered? I'm using a product that has argan oil. Do you know the process of how they get the argan oil? Because it's natural, it's organic. What about the essential oils? What about those ingredients that takes longer to grow than others? Sure, we just want to know, can you make these things grow faster? I mean, like, you know what I'm saying? Like people, you know what I'm saying?
Well, when they start putting things in the soil to make them grow faster for mass production, I want to make sure that we get a natural hair group or anybody to make sure that they lobby to stop it, or whatever the case may be. But, and let me just say this. We haven't thought this thing out. I just think that we're at a place where we need a conference. We need privacy. We need to have a moment. We need to think about what we're talking about in terms of mass production and where are these goods coming from. I mean, because chocolate and diamonds are natural, and we know what that has done to our native Africa. We know what demand can do. Um, and we also know where the raw goods come from. The surrounding populations are poorer than the 11,000 miles away people by the time they get, you know, and buy their commercial on the commercial market. But I do know that the natural hair care market in the industry, or just that group of people, beauty enthusiasts, content writers, content creators, natural practitioners, locticians, blah, 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 blah. You know, when, a product does come, there are so many different elements, but I don't know if they're prepared to deal with plastics, if they're dealing with the containers. Where do these things go? Where does the oil, and how are these oil farms and oil manufacturers and all these things, are we is our politics where our culture is our culture mouth, with our political mouth, are we living the same truth? So that's a very good discussion, and I think it's appropriate in Women's History Month. You're on mute, sis.
Sorry, of course I would knock this off because I dropped my book. But so yeah, so oh shoot now, hold on, Michonne. My cousin said it's a good question, but Michonne just dropped this in the chat. Sorry guys about that. Right quick, hold on. She says we know where it came from. It's all about who control. Well, we're gonna talk about that, because we don't hear this from the natural hair community in its entirety. Here in my book, I do address that. You guys should know this. It was kind of weak, but I did go there. And these are some of the bodies of people who oversee this process. Now, I'm going to start off next week with these bodies, and it's EcoCert. You have ICEA, you have USDA Organics. So these are just a few of the organizations that are supposedly, allegedly, doing things to make sure that our cultural mouth is matching our what? What do you call that, Cheryl?
Political.
Our political mouth. So we want to see if that's going to work out. And in my book, What They Don't Tell You at the Hair Salon, I actually cover that topic because that never comes up. And I was surprised of what I'm learning about what's happening, so that we can have essential oils at our disposal, so that we can have coconut and avocado oil, all these extracts at our disposal. So it's another side of natural. What does sustainability mean? What does recycle? Because we see all this on the bottom of your packaging where they want you to recycle stuff. So is this stuff really working? So we're going to take a deep dive next week, and we're going to go, how natural.
Or a better question, and I think it's Michonne's girls got it, is natural hair clean beauty?
Oh, is natural hair clean beauty? This is gonna be a tough topic here, because now if you are a natural hair enthusiast, all right, is natural hair clean beauty? If you are a natural hair enthusiast, this is your lane. You love to talk about it. There's a lot of people in the chat who swear by the natural hair thing. They don't care. They come through after the live, and we do. We appreciate every person because remember, you guys are our partners on this platform. It is not about you have to agree with Cheryl and I because we don't play that. We all have a right to disagree and have our opinions, but if you're going to say it's a fact, we want you guys to source it up. All right. So this time around, what we're going to do is invite. We want a natural hair person who really loves this. We want you to join us in the chat. So if you are interested in bringing your natural hair expertise or passion, maybe it's your passion that you just love to do as a novice, we want you guys to join us in the chat because we want to make it make sense. And the topic is going to be, is natural hair clean beauty? And we're going to define what that means to you. And when it comes to this hair coloring thing, we hope you guys have walked away that your concerns are valid, but now you actually have some resolve. So Cheryl, let's walk them out. On understanding, again about, the chemicals, the research, and all of this stuff that, really have people kind of caught up and like, I don't know about this chemical stuff in the beauty industry.
Mm-hmm. Well, I will say that there is no room for everything has a natural source. I don't know if natural hair care has defined natural enough outside of just being anti-chemical. And if you're chemical free, that's a whole nother industry. There's another conversation for that. And I think that the whole generation has given us clean beauty. I think that vegetarians don't pick it outside of steakhouses. We don't have to have, you just don't eat steak, you know what I mean? Or you just eat chicken, you know what I mean? There's plenty of room for everybody to have a choice, but the natural hair care has gotten quite draconian in terms of that culturally, you're not really actually dealing with your roots as a Black person and so on and so forth. But I will say this, that, Black cosmetology, Afro cosmetology is quite clean. We have a long way to go in traditional cosmetology. Yes, we do. But what we also can understand is that essential oils and things of that nature are not so natural that you're going to put them on your naked skin, right? Because they'll burn. And so that there is a lot for us to learn at the summit. There's a lot for us to talk about. There's a lot for us to put in their respective categories. There's a lot for us to put in context and for us to not mix these things up. So one of the things that a great industry should have as their creed, and that is respect all art forms as equals. And so I look forward to next month, actually. Oh, and by the way, in that the developer, in terms of the chemical agents, they're there to give you guys the results. And unfortunately, synthetically or naturally, if you want to do henna, it's just not for you if that's what you want to be. Plain and simple.
Right, yeah. It's no big push on us one way or the other. Here we are really, really all about empowerment. And empowerment can only be done if we're going to give you guys the whole truth and nothing but the truth. Everything that we've shared with you, if you just really want to Google it, you can do that. If you want to have that conversation with your cosmetologist and play this back to them, and is this true that this is an activator? Is this true that this is already developed? Is this true that this should have a toner? And I guarantee you they will say, yes. And we do have a source, our cosmetology book, to help. And then we also have chemists. So we are here for you, and we want you guys to remain empowered, because nothing, and I do mean nothing, will compromise anybody's hair like the dumbest ish that people say about it. So don't fall for the okey doke because sure now we got your back. Y'all rocked it out. Everybody stayed in the chat. That makes us feel really good. That means that we are on the post. Remember, hit the thumbs up button, number one. Number two, if there's something, a topic that you want us to cover, don't forget, especially if you're watching this post live, drop your questions or your topics in the chat. We'll make sure we cover them. If you want to join us in the chat with your own questions, you have your own topic, you want to interview, Cheryl, just let us know. Thank you, boss. She said good information. Yeah, this one was very, very good. Again, so remember, I'm the ish starter, so you probably don't want to interview me because I'm just going to be off the hinge. Cheryl, here we go. We have a question. Yeah, you don't want to interview me because I'm going to tell you right now, I'll be cussing everybody like, get off the thing. Oh, I saw Esther. Hey, Esther. I saw you in the chat. Where'd you go? Esther T, hey, this is my girl right there, Miss Esther T. She always down for me. I hope you're having a good time rocking it out with us, Esther. She always come back through, post a live, and, me and her, we rocks it out. So thank you so much, Miss Esther. Anitra wants to know, Cheryl, what does BAP, does it stand for Black American Princess, is what she wants to know.
Absolutely. I had my and let me just say this, and every Black woman should understand that a Black girl who is in love with her Blackness and her family works hard to give her advantages, opportunities, and options is definitely a Black American princess. So I wear it with pride. Absolutely.
Oh, that's absolutely phenomenal. Great chat. All right, because what we're going to do is when we start next week, right? Next month, it starts is Natural Hair Clean Beauty. And we're going to start off with the word queen because I have a book that tells me that the word queen does not mean what we think it means. All right, so this is going to be a good one. We're going to start our Women's History Month off very, very good. Yeah, Michonne, thank you, boss. Thank you, Miss Sandra. So I have the book right here, and we're going to talk about that queen to get us a build. And then all next month, we really want to know, is natural hair clean beauty? And we're going to start off by defining exactly what is natural hair. Can we define it? Can we not? All right. So get ready. Right. Thank you so much, Cheryl.
And I got a giveaway. Next for Women's History. I got a giveaway, and it's gonna be it's gonna be an MP3. So I want everybody to play this. All hairstylists to play this song. Hopefully, we can get some kind of nonprofit that that when we play this song, I'm gonna hook y'all up next time.
Oh, that's what's up. That's what's up. Okay, so next month we got a good giveaway. Hey, can we play this music? Is it copy? Is it yours? Oh,
it is from a legendary daughter, another Black American princess here in San Diego. Her name is Rachel Evans. She's the daughter of jazz legend Carl Evans Jr. And she has, this is the song of the month. If you are a hairstylist, barber, stylist, whatever you are, beauty, natural hair practitioner, this is our song, y'all. Okay. And so I just wanted to, we're going to unveil it next Monday.
All right, so we got a lot of excitement going down. Let's see, we're going to start off. We got our topic. Michonne, I want you in the chat because you my home girl. I need you to be here for us every step of the way. Esther, I want to see you back. I know sometimes you come throughout the live, so if you can join us, my cousin Nene, of course, my BFF. I see you in the chat, Miss Sandra. We definitely need you. Lena, you can't wait because Lena, I want to see you in the chat too. Is natural hair clean beauty? We're going to rock it by starting off. Number one, what about that queen? All right. Is it true? What queen? That queen does not mean what they say it means. I got a book right here. I'm going to source that up. In the meantime, we're going to use that hashtag BAP, and we're going to start this whole thing off about what is natural hair. Although mine ain't looking too natural. All right, Michonne, you say you ready? Juicy things are coming. That's right. We love you guys so much. You know what we say? We're always signing out, right? We're always talking about a whole lot of peace. For sure, a whole lot of love. And always, always, always a whole lot of hair. But wait. We already know, check this out, right? If you ain't got no hair, don't want hair, you can't grow it. Hell, you're planning on cutting it off because you got a couple of them bald patches and stuff. You know how it be that way sometimes. We say don't worry about your bald patches or your bald heads. Why? Because all of that is beautiful too. And so are you. We will be back next Monday at 6 o'clock. Bye.